Alrighty, so let's just see if I can get this thing working. Okay, so hold on a minute. I'm gonna stop the music. Okay, halt. I'm gonna go straight over to the stage right now. I'm gonna start with the Astrodoodle. It seems that the from what I can tell over here, whoa, thank you. I see that, Tina. I get the message. What I'm noticing over here, there's lots of different lights that are flashing at the same time. Everything looks good over here, but it is a Sunday evening in America, and a lot of people are at home doing things or not, and a lot of the internet highways are very thick with traffic. It's kind of like being, it's just the same as when you go on the highway during rush hour outside of the pandemic, where there's huge amounts of traffic just trying to get from A to B on like a Friday night rush hour or something. Okay, so that's what's happening with the internet. So it might be a little choppy. Just please allow for that. I am going to put up a post-it note immediately for Tina. Thank you, Tina. Got it. Let's have a look. Tina Miller. Got it. Tina Miller. You're going right over here. So in case you haven't been here before, just saw a couple of new names. Actually, Alice Wolf, I know you've been here before. If somebody wants to get a mini reading, I could probably handle 5 readings tonight. I might get up to 6, I don't know. I've been doing fewer and fewer readings lately because once I get rolling, I can't seem to stop myself, and then I run out of time, So anyway, that's how it is. So if you're not familiar with this, so for example, Kayla Rivera, if you want to get a reading, you can go to the Super Chat button. That's probably the easiest thing to do right now. There's a little button just underneath where you type, okay? And you press that button and it opens up a payment processor, sort of like Stripe or Square or PayPal or online shopping, and you just put the card number and information and the donation amount in there. Usually it's $10. Something like that, okay? And then what you're doing is you're buying a magic post-it note, very expensive post-it note, and with that post-it note, you get a free mini reading. We got one for Gregory. Gregory went off-site. You can do that if you want to. There's another way to donate directly to Tarot Illumination. You go to the PayPal or the Tarot Illumination address over here, which is alittlebookabout at Yahoo, and you can just make your PayPal direct to there. If you don't have a PayPal, then you can still donate directly to tarotillumination.com by doing this. Let me show you. Oh, sorry. I was going to go over to the browser so you could see. Hold on, stay there. Don't go away. So what you can do, which is actually what Gregory just did, you can go to tarotillumination.com, where you can see on the screen now, and you go to the donate page and you press the yellow button. It opens up a payment processor and you can donate that way. Okay, so there's all sorts of different ways, but anyway, that's how it works right now. Let me get back over here. So we've got one for Tina. Thank you, Tina. Thank you so much. And we've already got one lined up for Gregory. We've barely started. Okay, Mr. Gregory Ross. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I saw your notes there, Ivona. Hey, Kyla. TL is not a fortune teller, but you can ask a question as he describes. Yep. So what tends to happen here, if you've never done tarot before, I like to use basic, very basic Rider-Waite tarot decks, okay? And I don't do any reversals or what do they call, jumpers and things like that. I just stick to the basics. I don't do any reversals or anything because I love the cards the way that they were originally made. For example, there's the Two of Wands. It's just beautiful. The artwork is just staggering. I wouldn't want to mess that up or insult the artist. Okay? So anyway, Let's have a look. Where did I saw one there? I saw a note there from. Let's have a look. Hello. Hello, Ivona. Hello, Gregory. Hello, Tina. Hello, Liz Wolf. Yes, you've been here before. Yeah, I recognize that name. Greetings. And also, where was that? Kayla Rivera. So, Kayla, I guess if you haven't done this before, it's like live mini readings by donation. So I tried to explain it by doing the super chat, which is the button just where you type, it's a little square box with $1. Or there is the way we talked about earlier where you can just go directly to tarotlumination.com and it'll come through PayPal. You don't have to have a PayPal account. It doesn't matter, okay? So, let's have a look. Start chatting amongst yourselves. I don't know who's going to show up tonight. Sometimes we get some regulars. Sometimes we get a bunch of newbies. Sometimes we get a mixture. Anything can happen. Let's have a look. Maybe elaborate a little bit on that, Tina, because I know you do some volunteer work. Let's have a look. Okay. All right. Anyway, we are here. We're all back. I hope you're having a super time right now. I don't know if you can sense it or feel it in your bodies or notice different things happening in your life. I personally sense it as huge shifts, very kind of subliminal shifts, but they're very powerful right now. Everybody's talking about it in the world of astrology, the world of astronomy, and online in various different formats, different platforms, but it's about what they're calling the Great Conjunction. I think it's a great conjunction, but I think we've had much bigger, much greater conjunctions recently regarding Pluto, but nobody seems to be talking about Pluto. I happen to have a kind of a soft spot for Pluto because it has such a, let's say, a very deep and profound correlation with human experience at the historical level. And it's much harder to understand it when you're talking about day-to-day things like, am I going to get married next week? Or, does anybody love me? Or, when is my career going to kick into gear? Or, how is my health doing right now? All those kinds of things, which is typically why people come to tarot. People come to the tarot and all these thousands of tarot channels because, frankly, I think it's because they're not getting the feedback or the answers that they really need from any of the traditional sources of, you could call it healing or therapy or counseling. I try to stay extremely neutral, and I don't go through any kind of trances or rituals to get myself psyched up or into the vibes because I feel like I'm kind of in it permanently 24/7, 365 anyway. And I kind of grew into it over a very long period of time. So it just kind of switches on when it needs to and off when it needs to. I used to do, for some of the new people out there, I used to work as a consultant, or what do they call it, a technical advisor on a couple of TV shows decades ago for, TV psychics and things like that, and TV mediums and all those sort of things. My job was to kind of help the producers and the directors and the readers, the astrologer and everything, in case something goes wrong or there was something confusing or they needed explanations. And I just kind of fell into it. But anyway, here we are today, many years later. I'm still playing with the subject. Okay, let's have a look. See who's there. Hello, Ivona. Okay. Let's have a look. Tina Mill, you got a herniated disc. Uh-oh, still waiting on my liver ultrasound results to come back. And EGD is Tuesday. ECD or electrocardio? I don't know what EGD is. Hello, Looky Lou. Hello, Looky Lou. Wink, wink. And Liz Wolf. So you guys chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to start off with the Astro Doodle for the evening. Okay. like I like to do. It's just like it gets me kind of in tune, gets things focused for the moment where we are at this moment in time. Okay, Looky Lou has audio but no video. Okay, we'll survive. So let me go over here. I'm going to get on with the... Oh, Tina, hold on. I just want to read Tina's notes. Tina was... she saw your mom last night. Okay, you had a kind of a visitation. Okay. And it was like she was sitting before you. Okay, makes sense. I asked how she was doing. But before she could answer, you woke up with severe leg cramps. Ouch. Ouch. Okay, Tina, thanks for explaining that. Upper gastrointestinal scope, an EGD. Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you, Tina. Thanks for explaining. I don't know the John Bergman channel. Can you give us a reference, please, there, Ivonatus? I'm going to get over here to the Astrodoodles, like I said. Give me a second. Hold on here. And let's see if I can do this. Okay, so I'm just going to clear some space over here and see if other people show up if they want a mini reading. Alrighty, tonight we have Tina Miller lined up for a reading and Gregory's lined up for a reading. Let's have a look. So I'm just going to make an Astrodoodle for planet Earth. It's kind of a generic doodle for everybody here on Earth. But of course it can get a lot more specific, you know, when you turn it into personal astrology like we do in my private consultations. And you can make all this information highly personal and highly relevant. But right now for tonight, this is just about planet Earth. Okay? So you've seen these before, but I'm just going to keep them up to date because they're constantly changing like the weather. Okay? It always changes. Some patterns keep repeating, some take a long time, some are very quick. Okay, and today is in the United States on Pacific Standard Time. It is the 20th of December of 2020. A tumultuous year by most people's estimates. And this is on Pacific Standard Time here in sunny Las Vegas. Okay, we're going to put Aries on the horizon like we always do. Okay, Taurus over here, second house energy, money and things. Gemini, third house. Okay, communications. You'll see as this unfolds. Okay, Cancer, fourth house of home and family. Leo, sign of creativity and creative self-expression. Virgo, tasks, chores and work. Science, getting things done properly. And Scorpio over here, house of sex, death and taxes, and other people's money and so on. Deep mystical soul connections. Sagittarius, the great adventurer, house of wisdom and knowledge and ever-expanding consciousness. Capricorn, where we've been having huge concentrations of energy for the last few years, but especially in 2020. And it's going to be shifting a bit now. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'll show you. Right now we have Neptune in Pisces over here. We still have Mars in Aries over here and little Chiron. Poor painful Chiron in Aries over there. Got Uranus in Taurus over here. We've got the North Node in Gemini over here. I'll just mark that. North Node. And then, let's see, we've got Venus in Sagittarius over here. I've got the Sun in Sagittarius and Mercury in Sagittarius, basically conjoined right now. I'll just put that right there. Venus and the Sun over here, and Mercury over here. And then we've got Pluto over here. And this is where things get really freaky. We've got Saturn and Jupiter over here on the cusp, the 0 degree points, okay, of Aquarius. Dun, 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 dun. doop ba doop doop ba doop doo doo. Aquarius. And then there's the moon conjoined Neptune. So it's a very spacey, dreamy, a little bit difficult to diagnose that kind of energy. You're dealing with very sort of deep, serene, mystical type of energy, but I'm not going to focus on that quite so much. I'm going to go over here. You'll see in a minute. Some of you are familiar with my astrodoodles. I'm going to mark in something sweet and fun for the time being. We've got something nice between Chiron and Venus. It's nice to have. Gives a little bit of relief to poor little Chiron. And we have a kind of a, well, I don't even know if I want to put it in here. No, I'm going to leave that out. I've got a bit of a sextile over here, I guess you could say. Again, it's really, how's that going to work? Almost, I guess you could say, a little bit. I'm trying to add as much green and, nice pretty colors as possible. Trying to make things a little less volatile and combustible, but we still have some very challenging aspects. Okay? The most challenging one, as you know, it's been with us for a while. It's still here. We've got this thing between Pisces and Gemini. Okay? This is all about the fraud that's happening in the United States and across the world, about how the whole world has been defrauded by certain powers that be, and it's becoming evident now. The evidence is appearing all across the world, and all the evidence about what's happening in America, a lot of that evidence you can't actually get unless you go outside of the United States to get the information. So it's very, very strange living in a country where we have what we call, freedom of speech and all that. And yet there is no such thing anymore right now unless you deliberately seek it out. Because everything else is fake. But here we are. This is good. We're real. We do this for real. This is who we are. So don't worry. With Terra Illumination, you're at the right place at the right time with the right people for the right reason. Okay. Hello, Heather. I see you. Oh boy. Tina, I can talk forever about herniated discs and surgery and all that stuff because I've dealt with all of that. So anyway, this is our astrodoodle for tonight here. And we again have this repeated energy, very super hyper stressful, between the Pisces Gemini axis here. It's a hard square. And the way I see it, this energy here represents the hidden enemy. The enemy is fraud, deception, betrayal, lies, deceit, delusion, deception, and it's all deliberate, and it's affecting the North Node here, which is all about crystal clear communications, facts, information, just the facts, ma'am, and dealing with reality, clear communications, which you absolutely have to have for the world to be able to function properly. If you do not have clear communications and transactions, remember, Gemini represents business, day-to-day business and transactions ruled by the planet Mercury, okay? Mercury is in pretty far opposition right now to the North Node, so what we're seeing is a lot of exposure, especially in the United States, about fraud, deception, lies, betrayals regarding our financial infrastructures and our political infrastructures. Basically, the whole of the American politics and the economy is being exposed as a massive scam during this massive scamdemic. Okay? And the Mars square Pluto aspect that we have here indicates the potential use of violence or aggression or very assertive energy in the face of lies, okay? In other words, it's more and more like the people who insist on lying and betraying the masses, they're going to receive more and more resistance from people who want the truth, because the truth shall set us free, and the truth will prevail, okay? So let's have a look. So we'll probably refer to this through the evening, depending how it goes with the different readings. Let's have a look here. Okay, I opened up a deck already, so let's just work with this one. Looks like it's going to be a very quiet show tonight. Let's have a look here. And so I've got something there from Tina, got one from Gregory. So what I'll do, I'll probably just dive straight in, and if a few more people show up and they want a reading, then that's great. It's possible that some of you know that, how do we say it? It's becoming increasingly challenging to, for certain channels to operate in a healthy way, because the algorithms over here on this platform are basically, let's say, what's the word? I'm not going to say suppressed or repressed, but restricted or penalized if the algorithm doesn't like you. And so my channel is one of thousands of channels now that has been living with unfavorable algorithms, and it's very sad, but that's what we have. Okay. Hello, Gaia Smith. Greetings. Dear Gaia Smith, in case you've never been here before, this I will just show you. Greetings. Okay. I think we've got a problem here. Hold on. Give me a second, folks. Okay. I'm going to put this one over here. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry, I had a little, I don't really, okay. So, excuse me, I had to do a little bit of housekeeping just then. I noticed something very strange happening on the channel. You might have seen it in the chat there for a moment. Hello, Ice Queen. Greetings. Thank you. With the British pound symbol, I see that. Let me go over here. I'm going to give you your own mini post-it note. Hello, Ice Queen. Okay. Greetings. What's it like over in England right now? Is it very cold and wet? Okay. I imagine it is. I used to live in England for years, dear Ice Queen, so I know what it's like. I have, just so that you know, I have extensive experience of life in England. I have peed off the end of Land's End. And I have hiked and walked all the way up through the British Isles, all the way up to John O'Groats. And guess what I did there? I peed off the end of John O'Groats too. So I like to claim that I have peed the length and breadth and height of the British Isles. Yeah, there we go. That's probably something I shouldn't really brag about or talk about on this channel, because I don't know what the algorithm's going to do. So anyway, welcome, Ice Queen. I see you. Go Great Britain. My sister still lives in Great Britain. She lives down in sunny Cornwall. It still gets pretty cold there in winter. They can have a lot of storms and very cold water. And I've been there a few times myself. Cornwall is just magical. It's really kind of like a magical land, okay? I lived in a lot of places in England. Ice Queen, tell us a little bit about yourself. If you're in England right now, it's 5:30. It must be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for you. What are you doing up? It's almost going to be dawn. It's going to be dawn very soon on Monday for you. Actually, it's already Monday for you, isn't it? Huh. Hello, animal rights activist. Okay. Well, are you talking to me? Is this personal? Huh? Hello, animal rights activists. Oh gosh, don't get me started. I used to get very, let's say, personal with people who would abuse animals. And I try not to think about it, but for some reason I'm one of those people, I'm I'm not that concerned about human beings and how they treat each other, because we're conscious beings. And if you want to destroy other people, their lives and everything, and operate from greed and lies and deception and betrayal and abuse, you can do that. And it's very tragic for some people who have to live on the receiving end of that. And I've had to deal with it as well. Lots of us here who are on this healing vibrational frequency stuff that we do here, we all have a history of abuse somewhere. But for some reason, I managed to handle it okay, and I'm still alive to tell the tale. But where I came unglued many years ago is with animal abuse. And I've had to do a whole bunch of animal rescues in my time, and I'm kind of sad to say that I actually had to take action and put several animals down myself personally because of having been abused. It's very tragic. And I'm also proud to say that I got some animal abusers evicted from their homes and put in jail, and so on and so on. But what I started to realize is that my rage was so profound that whenever I encountered animal abuse by one human or some humans onto animals, I felt it person to person, I would get to the point where it's literally, you'd have to stop me. You'd have to, it's like, I wouldn't be able to stop myself. And so I always kind of got into a little bit of trouble. And I realized I cannot afford to be an animal rights activist in this lifetime. So I don't do it on a case-by-case basis. That's a whole other thing. But I don't actively go out helping animals because it's too much for me. I can't take it, so I don't do it anymore. I had to shut that part of my life down. It's very sad. Veruca Short. Hello, Veruca Short. Oh, Ice Queen. I keep saying ice cream. Ice Queen can't sleep, so you're going to just hang out with us. Okay. I pride myself at times when I've been having private conversations with people, like in my personal life or whenever. When I can go blah, 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 blah. What I notice, as soon as I start talking about myself, the other person starts going like this. Oh, really? So I'm not proud of that, but it's a form of therapy. I can talk someone to sleep. All I have to do is start talking about myself. Okay. Look at you. Okay, so you guys check it out. Chat amongst yourselves. Let's have a look. Sabrina Penis. Okay, I'm just going to... Okay. Greetings, dear visitors, dear newbies, and all of that. Thank you for popping in. I hope you're having fun hanging out with us. Hello, Jasmine. So let me go back to this stage thing over here again. Give me a second. Jasmine, hello. So if any of the new folks, if you want a reading, you can put a donation directly over here with PayPal to alittlebookabout at yahoo.com. Right there. Or you can go over here, clickety click. Oh, not to me. I want to show you where you go. Hold on. What you do is you can go to the terralumination.com website and find the donate page and just click the yellow button. That'll take you to a payment processor. So that's one way to do it. And, different ways, but otherwise... the other thing to do, of course, is just go to the Super Chat button, which is down there where you type things in. Okay, give me a second here. We got 1, 2, 3. All right, so we did the astrodoodle for today. Right now, let me just go into one note here before we actually get into the readings. Tina, I'm going to be starting on your reading soon. then Gregory, then Ice Queen. And then after that, we'll see if anybody shows up. If not, it's going to be a very quiet, short evening. That's okay, I guess. So, I don't know if any of you can spot it, but right now the big topic of conversation is what they're calling the Grand Conjunction, or the Great Conjunction, which actually is this thing over here. This is where Jupiter and Saturn are in direct conjunction. Right now it's at the 0 degree part of Aquarius. So after living for 2.5 years in Capricorn for Saturn, here's Saturn, and after living for about a year in Capricorn for Jupiter, they are now just happen to be coincidentally lined up exactly identically in the heavens. And everybody's calling it the Grand Conjunction as we head into the energy of Aquarius for these two planets. So, you're going to start feeling Aquarian themes to come up more and more in the near future, basically over the next year. Because Jupiter is going to be here on and off for most of the rest of 2021. And Saturn is going to be over here for all of 2021, okay? So 2021 is going to be a shift, a radical shift in energy. I don't know how many of you will sense it or feel it in your body, depending on, how much attention you pay to these things, or if you have very strong, vivid Aquarius aspects or Leo aspects, or maybe Scorpio or Taurus aspects, but especially Aquarian aspects to your chart, you're going to feel this year as a very important year in your life. Okay? So, let me put that aside. We're dealing with this right now. I am already starting to make plans and changes and adjust my perspectives of life in the world and everything because of these changes coming up. Now, it affects, this is like a universal chart for the whole of planet Earth. But this particular hotspot right here, 0 degrees Aquarius, that could be anywhere in your chart. It could be here, 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 here. Can you see it's moving around? For example, if you are a Libra rising, then this Aquarius hotspot is right over here. And so on. If you are a Cancer sun, moon, or rising, then this Aquarius hotspot is right over here. And so on and so on. Oh dear. Hold on. Oh gosh, hold on. Give me a second. I got to do some housekeeping again. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay. All right. Let's have a look. So I got. Okay. So I don't know. I feel like I'm having to do all sorts of weird housekeeping things to keep the channel operating. Let's have a look. Okay. All right. So there we go. I like having visitors and things, but I don't like people messing around with me. I kind of take it personally. And I know this is just for entertainment purposes only, but for me in my life, this stuff is deadly serious. And the things that I do with the cards, to me, that's very serious too. It's a business, okay? Okay? So, by the way, while I'm, getting ready to do the readings over here, I just want to let anyone know, if you're interested, I do the private consultations for this type of stuff, and we can relate these things directly to you in person. And what does the world look like for you now? Where are the trouble spots for you? Where are your strengths? How can you prop up the things that are falling apart and fix the things that are not working, and make the best out of your life going forward? So you can do that. You can go again to the channel over here, which looks like this, and you go to the readings button, and it shows you how you can book a reading. So there you go. Okay, let's get on with it, people. Let's see. Okay. All right, let me just shuffle things up here and we'll get rolling. Hi, Tina. Hi, Gregory. Hi, Ice Queen. I'll try to keep an eye on things, but if we have some trouble in the chat, I might not see it because I'm going to be focusing on the readings themselves. So you guys might just have to, just deal with it. I don't know. I don't really have any moderators here tonight. Hello, Jasmine. I see you. Okay, hi, Jasmine. Yes, what you can do is the easy thing. Honestly, Jasmine, it's really easy. Most people are, internet savvy these days. Even little kids are. What you can do, Jasmine, you can just, type it in your browser someday. Go to terralumination.com. And it'll open up the main website and you can kind of cruise around there. You can book a reading directly from there. And what happens is we do live one-on-one things through my Zoom Pro, okay? It's a lot of fun and it can be very helpful and quite illuminating, you could say. Yes. There's lots more stuff that I used to do on the YT TubeView platform, but it became very hazardous, and so I had to stop doing it. So right now, in case anybody's wondering, I only do these 2 shows a week, and I'm trying to figure out how to recalibrate the Terra Illumination project, so people can enjoy it and we can do it properly, and it works for you, it works for me, and everybody is respectable and respected. And I think I've found a solution, but it's still too early days. I'm doing tests with a new platform right now, just letting everybody know. And once I get a little more comfortable with it, I will tell everybody, okay? Winifred Mildew. Where do you guys come up with these names? Hello, I really love you. Hello, I love you, won't me tell me your name? Hello, I love you, won't me show you a game? Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. I was singing an old Doors tune. Winifred, to get a reading, what you do is, I was trying to explain it earlier. You basically, see these folks here, there's Tina Miller, Gregory, Ross, and Ice Queen. They already bought mini readings. It's done by donation. You go to a place just where you type, okay? There's a little square box underneath where you type. It's a tiny little square box. You tap that box, and it opens up a payment processor, and you put your donation in there, okay? That's the easiest way to do it. People who know more about this stuff, they have their PayPal accounts, and you can do to my direct email, or you can go to the website like I showed you earlier, everybody, okay, over here. If you want to, you can go to terralumination.com and click the donate button and put a donation in there and just let me know on the screen, and you'll get a reading that way. Okay? So, I think we're more or less ready to go. So get seated, get comfortable. Don't forget to put your mask on. You might need a gas mask. You might need goggles. You might need gloves. Okay? We'll see. Let's see what happens. All right, Tina. So right now, Tina, it sounds like you've been dealing with all these medical things, the EGD thing and all that, the herniated discs and all that. Ugh, oh, man. Hold on. You know what? I need a beverage already. I can't help it. Stay there. Why not? That's one of the things. I have this channel set up so that it's limited to 18 and plus, so I don't have to worry about if it's suitable for children and things. So it makes it a little bit more guilt-free for me when I have my little beverages. Okay, Tina, when you want to... Okay, I understand. You're talking about when you had that connection with your mom in a dream. So let's take it a little bit further, okay? All right, let's see what kind of messages we've got here tonight for Tina Miller regarding the subject of her mother who passed fairly recently, and if there's any messages out there for Tina from her mom. Let's see what happens, okay? All right, we're about to start the show. We've been going quite a while already, but I just wanted to see who would show up and explain to some of the new people how things work. Okay. So the cards are already well shuffled in advance, but I go to the last second so that you are a witness, because this is all happening live, okay? Live. Just want to make sure the cards are the right way. Yes, good. Looks like we're okay. So, I don't know if this means anything to you, Tina, but it feels to me that I'm getting this kind of soft, cuddly energy over here from what feels like it would be a maternal figure. Perhaps it is your mom. And to me it feels like she's kind of saying to me that she was wishing she could connect better with you directly, or that you could connect with her better directly. But in the meantime, it feels to me, this is going to sound very strange because I don't, promote myself as a medium, okay? Even though I've done it, even though I can do it and I can do remote viewing and all those things, it only happens when it's supposed to happen. I don't do it as a, let's say, a profession. But what I felt is that it's like this sort of soft, fuzzy, warm energy. It feels maternal. I don't know what your mother was like. Everybody's different, but what I'm sensing is that the affectionate side of your mother, the part of her who loves you as her daughter, is present here right now. And she's just, it feels to me like she's frustrated that she can't reach you directly anymore, and she's frustrated that you can't reach her directly anymore, and so she's grateful for this kind of interface that we're having here right now. I don't know how this is going to work out, but we're going to go forward anyway, okay? We'll see what happens. Okay. Let's keep it very simple, okay? Let's keep it very, very simple. All right, feels just fine right now. Let's have a look here. Okay, what kind of messages do we have here for Tina from her mom? Okay, let's have a look. Here's the situation. Now it might come out as a story or a theme or a feeling. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And I always use this spread, by the way, Tina. As you know, it's a very simple spread, but it's also powerful. I think of it as a sort of diagnostic tool. It's kind of like a universal diagnosis device. Like what happens when you go to a car mechanic and you tell them, hey, I think there's something wrong with my car. A few lights are blinking. I don't know what it is. Can you help me? So I'm going to look at this one first. I think of this as the weather, external energy, external influences, especially in particular the astrology. I love to blame the planets for everything. Here we go. So we've got the Ace of Cups. Okay. I'm seeing this as a energy of a gateway. Okay? A gateway for love to flow. So what I'm sensing right now, it's even so much about the messages or specific messages themselves that your mom might have for you. Okay, Tina? It's more about establishing a rapport, establishing a connection where the love flows, okay? Establishing, it's like first contact or something like that. Like finally we've got something going on here where your mom has a bit of a foothold over in the great beyond, and she's aware of your situation over here without her, and you are aware of her situation over there without you. If it's been kind of frustrating all this time for you not to be able to have clear communications with your mom, what I'm sensing is that now there's a chance further down the road, well, starting tonight, that, and remember, this is an energy of opportunity. It's like the gates are open. The gates are opening, I should say, perhaps in very, very gentle ways. As time goes on, I think what's happening here is your mom is saying that I am here. I am right here. Do not fear. I'm not an expert at these things. Like TL was saying, it's a bit frustrating for me to connect to you directly, and I know it's been a bit frustrating for you to connect with me directly, but I just want to let you know that the connection exists, the flow is there, the energy of love, the healing power of love, they're right here, right now. So, that's a good sign. That's the way I look at it. That's probably as good as you could get, really. All right, let's have a look. Here's the situation. Oh, okay. This is a very powerful masculine energy. And to me, it feels as though, like in the context of this reading, like if this is a message from your mom, okay? It's almost like your mom is urging you to be basically ruthless in your posture, your attitudes, your behavior in terms of the communications that you receive from other people and the communications that you put out to people, okay? Because of this, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a direct reference to here. This energy is still very, very strong right now. This is the energy of fakery, lies, deception, betrayal, sickness, dis-ease, and the inability to heal things while they are hidden. This is the 12th house, the hidden enemy. And so what's happening here with this extremely harsh square aspect is that the hidden enemies in life and world, like your health, your sickness, your the volunteer work, the pets, the animals, your family, the in-laws, the kids, the grandkids, they are all susceptible to the illusions and the misunderstandings and the confusion of life right now. They're highly, highly vulnerable. And to me it feels like what she's saying is that you're about the only person in their life and their world that can represent facts, truth, honesty, information in true, unambiguous ways that even if it's very uncomfortable, like a hard truth, it's better to have the truth in their lives. So if, for example, because we've done other readings before, Tina, so if, for example, there are certain other characters in your life who are directly or indirectly dependent on you to either a tiny degree or to a large degree, it's very important that you remain ruthlessly resolute to the truth and honesty, information, and facts, because they might not have the perspectives that you have, Tina. So, because, Tina, you've lived through a lot of stuff. You know a lot about, the let's say the invisible realms, the world of healing, the world of energy healing, the healing power of love, how it can move into your body and out of your body into the world. And you're probably, in some ways, you're dealing with people, your immediate family and your second degrees of separation of family, who are not fluent in that way that you are. Okay, Tina, I hope that makes sense. However, somebody needs to do that. Somebody needs to maintain truth, justice, honesty to the point of ruthlessness. Otherwise, it's so easy for things to go wrong or be misunderstood, or for you to get screwed over by somebody else, or for someone else under your wings, under your umbrella, Tina, to be screwed over by someone else under your wings, under your umbrella. So you have to be pretty ruthless here. That doesn't mean it's absent of love. One of the most loving things you can do right now, Tina, is to be very, very firm in how you relate to your loved ones and how you allow them to relate to you, so that you are not undermined, abused, distorted, betrayed in any way, okay? Just going to acknowledge this thing here. I just saw this from Melissa. Just going to mark that over here. I'm still here, okay, Tina? I just have to mark this so I don't forget, okay? I just saw the bright yellow thing pop up in the chat. Okay, Melissa, you are booked. Thank you very much. Put that over here for now. I might be able to take one more. We'll see how it goes. All right. So, this is really funny, Tina. I don't know if this makes any sense to you, or if you have ever heard your mom communicate to you in these kind of ways before, but it feels like she is very concerned about you and for you right now, and wants to let you know that because you've got a bit of the compassion junkie component to your character, it would be so easy for others to take advantage of you, and that's not allowed. Your mother is being extremely firm. This is not allowed. In fact, if anything, you need to be tougher than ever before. And in doing so, you're actually helping the little ones, your children, your grandchildren, the in-laws, all of that. Everybody in your sphere, under your umbrella, in your immediate environment, including the animals. It's very important. Someone has to tell the truth. Someone has to hold the line, okay? Let's see. Hey, Tina, can you explain that? It says, TL, I have not. Please, can you explain that a little bit for the others and for myself, too? Normally, I don't bother with the chat in the middle of a reading, but I would love to have some clarity on that right now. Okay, hold on. What's the challenges here? Okay, there's a 5 of Cups here, Tina. It sounds to me that there are some issues between your mom and yourself where she's concerned about unresolved matters. It looks to me like she's terrified of any of these misunderstandings that were never resolved in the living life, that they don't overburden you with grief, because it looks to me is that she's actually carrying quite a burden here. I would say it's maybe to do with guilt, if there is any way, even just the slightest things. You know how parents, some parents, like, well, everyone's different, but no matter how she was like with you in the three-dimensional world here on Earth, there's a her over there on the other side, which is very soft, sensitive, caring, and compassionate, and concerned that she was never there enough, not loving enough for you. No matter how loving she may have been, it feels to me like she's concerned that she might not have kind of been enough of a mom for you, and that there are some unresolved aspects about her relationship to you and your relationship to her that still hurt a little bit on her side of the story, of the veil. And if there's anything that hurts between yourself and herself on your side of the veil, she's very sorry for that, okay? She's very, very, very sorry, okay? And to me it feels like deep shame, deep guilt, and sadness and grief about that. Okay, by neglect. Okay, that would explain the thing that I'm feeling over here. Okay, give me a second, Tina. Okay, because before the reading actually got started, I felt this energy of a woman. Okay, but this is a woman, like if you're talking about her energy there, like she was a part of the abuse in the past, especially by neglect. What I sensed over here is that it's like she's been wishing she could connect with you better and that you could connect with her better. And I guess it's like that Five of Cups is to do with shame and guilt. And like, if she passed over before there was any, real redemption or healing between herself and yourself before she passed, she's regretting that now from the other side, and that it's very painful for her, and she would be feeling it as shame in herself. And that's one of the things that she's struggling with on the other side, is handling the degree of shame, and the fact that in a three-dimensional sense in this lifetime, the damage is already done. Okay, I think that's a very key phrase. The damage is already done. She can't repair that the way things are right now, but there is a lot of shame, there's a lot of regret. Okay? Okay, let's go on to this. Okay, another thing she says, she's seen it, but she did not help me. Well, I've seen that before in relationships and families, Tina. So it is a very real phenomenon, the thing that you're talking about. Especially if there is abuse in the family, and there is a particular one who is the abuser, and the abuser is married to or in close partnership with the other parental figure, but the other parental figure is either too scared or too weak to interfere or to try and heal the situation, because for whatever reason the abuser also has the partner in your situation, Tina, the mother, operating from a sense of fear. And so the neglect, it can also be deliberate. For example, you're talking about the word neglect there. The neglect is deliberate because it can be so hard to restrain an abuser when you are the partner of an abuser. And so what can happen is you can have abuse by omission, which means neglect, essentially, from the mother. So, in other words, it's like lies by omission. The mother can be just as guilty of abuse as the abuser for not intervening or not trying to protect the child from the abuse. And so it is a secondary form of abuse by neglect. And that's very sad and that's very tragic. And that's what I think is going on here, okay? But for sure, she's aware of it now on the other side, and there's a deep sense of shame on her part, which is actually a good thing. How are we going to deal with this now, right now? Okay, so you've got another ace here, okay? So this is very much, I think, to do with the eclipses. New starts and new beginnings. With the Ace of Wands, to me, it looks like it's very much about the message. Remember, this is like a message. Like you asked, Tina, this is, what has your mother got to say to you? So it's coming through me as your reader. To me, it's like, thank God there is at least a loving connection here. She was trying to be helpful to you here, but there's deep shame on her part about what she did not do for you as a mother in that lifetime. But that is now, history is now in the past. So going forward, because you're, like most abuse survivors, if you have actually survived and you've become a useful member of society, a very loving, caring, compassionate person that you are already, especially like, for example, with the dogs and with your immediate family, that is a way of healing. In other words, you have deliberately refused to allow yourself to become an abuser. You know, it's very, very common for abusees to become an abuser, but you have chosen to stop that in this lifetime now. I don't know if you've ever read those books, Tina, but to me, I had a large library. Let me come back to this card in a second, okay? I just want to convey something here, okay, Tina? I used to have a big library of all sorts of self-help books, astrology books, tarot books, healing books, and all of that stuff. But I've had a very nomadic existence, and I've had to leave 99% of my physical world behind wherever I go. So, but I do remember one book in particular, well, actually a couple. One book was called Betrayal of Innocence. Okay, mark that down. Betrayal of Innocence. I can't remember the name of the doctor. She's an amazing doctor, but she's one of the first doctors who wrote openly about abuse. And it was kind of a shocking book in its day, but it's incredibly tragically common now when you read the book. And so you would understand the different forms of abuse, and it can be subtle, indirect abuse by lack of action, things like that. And the other one is a book called Waking the Tiger, which is about how some people survive abuse through what they call the will to live. In other words, even though you might have been biologically, physically, sexually, mentally, psychologically, emotionally crushed, abused, tortured, pulverized, you're still alive. And you know, like people come out of it, like in the wild, for example, some animals, vertebrates, especially mammals, if they've been threatened by death, one of the things that they do is they fake their death. And in the chase, you know, fight or flight, and then they go to the point where, let's say I'm the animal and I'm running away, and I realize I don't stand a chance. What they do is they die before they die. They literally black out and collapse on the ground. And then the predator kind of goes, wait a minute, what just happened? And it really confuses the predator, and they start to like circle the prey. And I don't know statistically how often it works, but often the predator will retreat because they get completely bamboozled and they start to think this is a dead animal and it might be toxic to me. So let's say the predator has now fled, but you're still alive and you've been chased down and hunted, abused. You might already be scarred up and ripped up or, you know, whatever. But you wake up, and what the animal does is they shake off the massive adrenaline rush. They just kind of go through this thing. And they might do that for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, as they literally shake off the trauma. And once they do the shake off, the waking of the tiger, it's like they've gone through a complete cycle of self-healing. The scar is still there, but you're still alive, and you are more empowered than ever before. So I'm trying to relate that to the Ace of Wands energy here. So, in other words, it's like, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad it was, Tina, your mother is now on the other side and is fully aware of her compliance in the abuse. It's very tragic. It's very shameful for her. But she wants you to carry on anyway. She considers you to be kind of a hero for having survived what you survived. And it's very important that you continue to survive against all odds. You know, with all these health issues, with all the issues in the extended family. You keep going anyway. It's like, treat every day as a new start, a new adventure. And it's like you have to configure yourself as, I mean, it sounds like, what's the word for it? Leading by example. Someone's got to do it. Someone who's lived through everything that you lived through, come out the other side and recalibrated your life into someone who's actually a healer. That's pretty tricky. Not everybody can do that. Okay, but that's what I was talking about with Waking the Tiger, and also with that book, Betrayal of Innocence. There are people, and also the other book is, of course, The Road Less Traveled by M. Scott Peck. Okay, that's an incredibly inspiring book. Those three books, I highly recommend them for anyone who suffered extreme abuse and you're still alive and you want to continue and you want to find reasons for joy and love to flow and to continue to flow in your life. It's kind of a strong reading. What I'm sensing right now is that your mother is very upset. She's very sad. And she's, right now, she's trying to be helpful. She's actually trying to be helpful. Where the messages that we've talked about here are things that she would not normally have either been able to convey to you, or would have tried to, or never even considered conveying to you. But now that we're doing this reading, now that we've done this reading, I think because she's like a participant in this reading, because I feel like she's right here, like observing and giving me tips and clues, like if I am sort of relatively on track with her message. She is approving this message, okay? And she wants you to please. She's not asking for forgiveness, okay? She's not asking that. She doesn't even expect that at this point. But what she's trying to do is to encourage you to keep going anyway. To keep tuning into your massive willpower to continue to live anyway, okay? And then you go from there, because really what's happening is you are living by example. You're a classic example of someone who is self-healing, coming out the other side, and in fact healing others, okay? Okay, your mom is saying she can't take it anymore. She wants to go. She's very upset, but she's also very happy. It's that kind of like happy tears right now. The fact that we've had this message and we've got the subject of shame out of the way. It's not something that you have to dwell on a lot, because the damage is already done. She's very glad to know that this connection happened, as she just wants you to continue to be the amazing person that you are. Just keep going. Stay in your strength, stay in your lane, stay in your power. Treat every day as a new start, a new chance, a new beginning to live life to the fullest. Live by example, okay? Thank you, Tina. It's like no matter how horrible and bad it was between you and your mom in that lifetime, things are changing, okay? I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I hope that reading helped you. Thank you, Tina. Next up, we're going to read for Gregory. Let me just move these all up a notch here. All right. Both of my mom and dad have passed away in the last few years, but I still get connections with them now and again. Sometimes they're very direct, very vivid, almost like they're right here. Sometimes they're more fuzzy and hazy. Sometimes it's in a dream. Mostly it's when I'm very clearly and consciously awake. Not so much in dreams. Oh, you just got the book, The Road Less Traveled. Awesome. He's got several other books, but that's the one that really resonates with me. It's not the sort of book you normally associate with healing or self-healing or all those, workshop places or tarot readers or remote energy healers or psychics or mediums. But that guy, M. Scott Peck, and his book, The Road Less Traveled, is one of the most essential written works on love and healing that I ever encountered. Gregory Ross, excellent. Probably same message to me. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're accessing the great beyond. All right, let's have a look, Gregory. See what's going on. I'm going to put that over here. Try this. Oh yes, it's fun. It's interesting, actually. Gregory, because like yourself and Tina, dealing with a lot of issues to do with extended family, and even family from the great beyond. Wow, interesting. Interesting how that theme cropped up tonight. Actually, in a way, maybe it shouldn't surprise us because we've got the moon tune right now tonight. So it's a very, very strong kind of spirituality type of energy. Very, very strong with, let's say, the great beyond. It's like having a direct connection or like a very, very good signal. Like having a very good signal to the great beyond. All right, let's just do that. Let's do the same thing. Let's have a look here. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, some people just hang out for the show to watch for entertainment purposes, but sometimes these readings extend above and beyond the actual client that we're reading for. I've noticed that a few times now. It's like the message applies to other individuals, whether they're watching live right now or if they catch it sometime later on the recording on the platform YouTube. Let's have a look here. All right, Gregory, let's see what's going on. We're going to keep to the same theme. What kind of messages does Gregory's mom have for Gregory right now? We'll see. We'll see. We'll give it a shot, okay? Cards are cut. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Again, it's the same old spread. It's my situational spread. It's literally like just plugging into the grid, so to speak. You know how those diagnostic machines do. And then we see what the readings come up with. Let's have a look. External influences. Okay, Queen of Wands. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to show you the card. It's an absolutely beautiful card. It's like the direct nature of your relationship with your mom, Gregory. But to me, I think what we're looking at here is, it's, to me, this feels a little bit neutral. It's almost as though other, let's say, angelic beings are involved in this reading right now. For example, my personal invisible friends and perhaps your invisible friends. They're all like involved in this reading. And no matter what kind of contention there might have been between yourself, Gregory, and your mom, what we're saying right now here is that let's stay on the positive. Let's focus on the good, the kindness, whatever kind of kindness or generosity or good intentions or best wishes we can think of. Think of benevolence, okay? I think the whole idea is that what we're trying to do, I think what my invisible friends are saying here, almost in collusion or concert with your invisible friends, Gregory, not that I know any of yours personally or anything like that, but, you know, I just pick it up as an energy field. Like, let's make this a reading where it's, what do they call it? Like not an obituary, but you focus on the good stuff. Let's focus on the good stuff, okay? No matter how contentious things might have been at any point in your life between yourself and your mom. Let's try and put her in a good light so that she sees you in the best light possible and you see her in the best light possible. As much as how, let's say another way to look at it is like, again, no matter what it was actually like in 3D for you, okay, between you and your mom, from, let's say, her perspective right now, only the best of intentions are there. Almost like being a guide and an inspiration for you. The Queen of Wands energy is very much about leadership, but it's about feminine leadership. So it's like soft power, and it's about living by example. And even if your mom was not like that in this lifetime, where she might have had this energy of being a very gracious, kind of majestic, inspirational kind of woman, she certainly has some of that in the great beyond, and she's trying to live up to the best version of herself from the great beyond, okay? And hoping that she can share that with you in some way. Oh gosh, I don't know what's going to happen about the brother thing. Here we're going. It might be, okay, so Gregory, it might be, like with this Queen of Wands, it might be asking for you to please make best efforts to think of your mom in the best light possible, okay? Even if it's hard for you to do so. Let's have a look at the situation itself. Okay. Okay, so with the Three of Pentacles here, my feeling is that this is a bit of an awkward, like a really awkward reading, Gregory, where, and to me it almost feels like she's trying to say, like, Gregory, I really did try my best. You may not see it, you might not know it. And this is a really strong energy of teamwork here. But given your note on the screen, okay, which I could not avoid seeing, and given the energy that I'm seeing here on the cards, it feels to me that it's almost like she's trying to say, I did the best that I can in the situations that I had. But my ability to be the best mom for you depended on teamwork, partnership, relationship dynamics, where in an ideal scenario, a very ideal scenario here, I would be a very good partner to someone else who is a very good partner to me. Okay? But, this is a very strange reading, Gregory, but with this aspect here, what I think is happening on this reading is that it's becoming apparent, given your notes, that that was not so. In other words, no matter her best intentions, no matter your father's best intentions, or hers, or together, or both. Okay, so how can I explain it? It's so that, because I'm seeing these, normally I would read these in a very positive way, but when I look at the charts and when I saw your line there, I'm seeing it also in a very kind of sad, tragic way, because you've got to reveal it to heal it, and this energy over here is the house of hidden enemies, and it's a very strong energy right now. It's been with us for a long time with Neptune in Pisces, but with the moon over here, I think it's extra strong, where to me it looks like the reading is trying to say that I feel almost like I'm betraying myself with a reading, but it's impossible to be a really good mom. It's more like it was difficult for me to be a really good mom for you in the way that I would like to have been, because it depended on teamwork. And if this teamwork was not there, if it was an optical illusion, for example, if the relationship between your mom and your dad was, let's say, less than ideal, then that would have had a very strong impact on you as a person, as an individual. If the teamwork was not there, in other words, what might have appeared as teamwork, what might have appeared as a relationship between spouses who helped each other, and that wasn't actually how it was, then that would have had a really kind of a negative impact on you. It's almost like, I'm not saying she's trying to defend herself here or to justify her behavior. It's almost like she's just trying to explain things in a very kind of neutral way and hoping that you don't pass too much judgment. Okay, let's have a look. What's the challenges here? Okay, so this is a 10 of Cups here. Like from the great beyond, it might be, because these are such, like each little card in its own way is beautiful cards in their own way. But in this particular reading, it's coming out, especially when I see your notes there, I'm kind of having to qualify the reading. So it looks to me like the challenging part, the problems here, again, I think it's very much to do with shame, the energy of shame, in that everything that would constitute the 10 of Cups, the energy of home and love and happiness, and that if that was absent, there's a deep shame that exists in your mother right now on the other side about not being able to deliver the home, the love, and the happiness that in theory would happen if you actually had a functional, viable relationship of teamwork between the spouses, the mother and the father. Like because in the Three of Pentacles, it's like each party becomes indispensable to the other. Like in the traditional sense, the architects can't build the cathedral without the craftspersons. And the craftspersons don't really know what to do or how to direct their energy without the input of the architects and the designers. So you need them both. You need teamwork, so you get combined energy. This energy and that energy combined makes a third energy called a relationship. And it looks like the whole idea of having a happy, loving home, that's the problem. Because it looks like it wasn't, according to your notes there. It obviously wasn't. And that's kind of tragic. And I think that's kind of why this Queen of Wands here energy, she's trying to, it's almost like she's trying to say, despite how horrible it might have been for you, she was actually trying to do her best. Obviously, you didn't know that. You would not have seen it because you would have lived your life from the perspective of their child. So in a way, this is again kind of tragic. The tragic loss of love and family and the happy, ideal home. And you've got to reveal it. So a lot is being revealed here. Okay? Because, like, in a positive sense, like say snapshot right now, this energy would be the energy of something very inspirational, very beautiful, the energy of having direct connection with heaven, like a really divinely inspired artist who creates a beautiful work of art. The teamwork between heaven and the artist and the materials, okay? But that's not what's happening here. What actually happened, it's almost like what happened is a tragedy. What actually happened is tragic, because the flip side of this beautiful energy is tragedy. Tragedy in the home and the family. It's very sad. How do we move on from here? Okay, with this energy here, I'm not sensing that she's trying to ask for forgiveness. What I'm sensing is that she's trying to explain herself. Okay? How do we deal with this? Okay, this looks like a cop-out. To me, this feels like a cop-out. It's almost like she really doesn't know what to say or how to say it or how to apologize or how to repair anything that is wrong in your life right now today because of her relationship with you as the child, in the family as a parent, and the father as a parent, and all the dysfunction in the home. And again, if you're treating this as a message coming to you from your mom, to me it feels like this. I'm just going to try and do it visually, okay? It feels like, to me it feels like, sorry I had to take my top off, but it feels to me like she's not actually communicating with you directly here, Gregory. She's actually kind of like over here, since you kind of invoked this theme for your reading. So she is here, but it feels to me like she's here reluctantly. She's trying to put on a good face, trying to be like the best version of herself. But in this reading, it's becoming very clear, very exposed that she wasn't exactly the best mother to you. And she's trying to blame it on poor teamwork between herself and the spouse. And there's deep shame in the loss of home and family and love in the home and the family. But with the Eight of Cups, it's almost like she's saying, like, well, what am I supposed to do now? The damage is already done. It's like, it's not even like she's speaking to you directly here, Gregory. What it feels like is she's speaking to me over here, hoping that I understand and that I convey it to you in such a way that you understand it, because I don't think she has the ability or the ability to say it directly, because there's too much shame involved, okay? So it's just like, she's almost like she's just hoping, like, oh my God, this is really awkward for me on the other side. Like, if we have to do this tarot reading for my son, then, you know, if that's your card over there, Tarot Illumination, for how are we going to deal with this, I don't know what to tell you, Tarot Illumination, except, like, please tell Gregory, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. I can't fix it from here. The damage is already done. I'm hoping you can just forgive and forget and move on and focus on your life, your spiritual journey. And she doesn't know what else to say or what to do. She doesn't know how to fix it. It's beyond her at this moment in time. And so it's almost as though she's asking you, please can we forgive and forget, at least for a while? Because she's not sorted out in herself over there in the great beyond. There's no direct connection here between her and you. It's going through me, and it's not comfortable for her. She's not happy being here and doing this, but it was called upon, and I think in the great beyond, she felt a sense of obligation that, okay, well, if I'm being called upon, I should do this, at least try. So that's what she's doing, but it's still not a very direct relationship at all. And the basic message at the end there with the Eight of Cups is like, oh God, I hope he forgives me. I hope he can continue and move on. And I'm sorry it's all spilt milk. It's all, whatever love was there, we tried or I tried, but, it's just like, ugh. It's almost like she doesn't want to be here. Can we leave this ending right now? Can we end this meeting right now? Thank you very much. She doesn't want to be here. Okay? That's what I'm sensing. So I hope that makes sense, Gregory. I'm 100% certain that she means no ill will. I don't think she ever had any intention to do harm, but it's very clear that she feels as though either she was out of her depth and she's looking for an excuse, and the main reason is like we had a dysfunctional partnership here. I couldn't help him, he couldn't help me in the way that would be ideal in order to resonate with me as the... Thank you for your notes there, Fritterly. Very important. Thanks, Gregory. Very frustrating. Ice Queen, you're up. Let's have a look here. I'm just going to shuffle this up, okay? Actually, I feel I'm going to I'm going to put this deck away for now. I'm going to swap decks. I'm going to put that one over here. I'm going to bring up another deck. All right, here we go. Also, and you're talking about assets. I saw your notes there in the chat about assets. If you want to look at those Three of Pentacles as assets, okay. I'm not sensing anything like whether there are still assets remaining, if they're there, and how to find them and where they are. I'm not sure about that. But it feels to me like her assets as a woman, as a person, the way she operated and lived her life, her ability to bring her best assets to the table were very contingent upon her relationship with the father, okay? Such that it would have been very, very difficult to, like you say, manage assets properly, especially if they were all tied up in ways that are, let's say, dysfunctional. It happens it's a very common thing in families. The money, the finances, and the assets get really, really messed up. Especially generational money and things like that. Legacies. Blew the deck up. Yeah, staggering. Let's have a look here what's going on. All right, Ice Queen. You're in Old England, and it's going to be, let's see, what is it, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be dawn soon. Actually, I don't know, because England, you're way up compared to us over here in Las Vegas. So you're probably having very long nights, like a 7 or 8 hours of sunlight during the day, if you're lucky to get any sunlight, that is. So I don't know what time the sun comes up right now in England, but I know you're having very short daylight and very long night times. Dang, blew up the deck. That's right. Don't worry about it. It will automatically reconstitute itself very quickly. Thanks for the support there, the backup support for Tilly. It's good to have that, you know, it really helps. All right, so Ice Queen, if you're still, I hope you're still here. It would be cool if you're still here. Let's have a look. If not, I'm just going to do a blind reading. Okay? I'm going to go back to the chart here for a moment. This thing over here, they're calling it the Grand Conjunction. It's happening right now. If it is night time for you, wherever you're right now, and you've got a very clear sky, you can actually see Jupiter and Saturn extremely close together in heaven. And actually Pluto is still very close by as well. And the other day the moon was there too, but they're calling this the Great Conjunction. I think the really Great Conjunction was actually January 2020 when Saturn was conjunct with Pluto. Oh my God, that's when it really hit. So, which is about what my book is written about. But fast forward here, almost a year later, this new vibe, this conjunction here with Jupiter and Saturn in 0 degrees Aquarius, it's happening right now. Let me show you, actually. Let me see here. Ice Queen, 2:48 in the morning. Whoa. Okay, so it won't be dawn for a while. Okay, so over here, I don't know if you can see this, probably not, but that is 0 degrees Aquarius for Jupiter. Over here, this is 0 degrees Aquarius for Saturn. It's happening basically simultaneously. This thing here is the Great Conjunction. So it's happening right now. It's going to feel different for everybody. The main theme is the Aquarian energy. The Aquarian energy is going to demand freedom, equality, and what is best for humanity, as opposed to what is best for the rulers, the oligarchs, the leaders, or the so-called leaders, the so-called corporatocracies, the federal banks, the federal governments, the corporations, the big monopolies, the big cartels. They want absolute control and power. They still want that, and they're going to be pushing it for the next 3 or 4 years. But in the meantime, Jupiter and Saturn are starting to wake up and say, hey, wait a minute. We need what is good for the people, not for you. We, the people, are what counts now. So it's a very different kind of energy. Let me show this over here. All right, Ice Queen. I'm just doing the last moment shuffle here. What kind of messages do we have for Ice Queen tonight? We could just say regarding the grand conjunction and the doorway that is opening to us here in the end of December and into January 2021, where the Aquarian vibe is really going to accelerate. It's going to be radical, revolutionary, especially when it comes to global finances, global banking, global governance, freedom of speech, the Declaration of Independence, all these things that we talk about on the Wednesday show. Things are going to get very volatile. So it's good to know that in advance, and then you won't get caught out so easily. All right, let's have a look. All right. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. And here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at the surrounding weather, the environmental influences. As you know, I like to blame it all on the planets, whatever's not working. As you noticed, by the way, a lot of times when I do these shows and I make these astrodoodles, we take all the green stuff and the blue stuff for granted because it's harmonious, it's comfortable. It brings a sense of, let's say, comfort, where these are the things we don't have to worry about so much because they're flowing smoothly. So I tend to focus very strongly on the red aspects that show up in my doodles, because those are the danger spots. Those are the trigger points. It's just like when you're driving a car or just living your life or doing your job or going to school or college or doing your homework, your finances, or whatever it is, your health or whatever. We need to know what is not working so that we have a chance to fix it. So much about our physical, biological lives is to do with healing things, fixing things, improving things, so that we can just continue with life. Okay? So if you don't take care of these things, if you're not aware of this energy, then you essentially become a victim of this energy and a victim of this energy. So that's what I try to do. I try to make these energies apparent and understandable for people so that you don't get caught off guard. In fact, you can take advantage of that. So, for example, let's have a look. Let's just see what comes up here. Okay, I've got the Two of Cups. So I am tempted to ask you, Ice Queen, are we dealing with relationship matters here in this reading, or would you like to? Would you like to deal with healing? Would you like to deal with the idea of, I would guess, like, who am I? What am I here for? Is it true? It almost feels to me like, it's almost like a big question mark. It's almost like, okay, this is going to sound very weird for a reading, but I feel like I'm being called out personally. I feel like I am being called out by the reading regarding the energy of the Two of Cups, where, you know, sometimes I don't really go into it too much these days, but, you know, we talk about the healing power of love, and I used to do those healing videos, and we used to do the Friday night members groups for like these advanced weird yoga self-healing things. But in general, right now, what I'm doing mostly is just the live tarot and the little Wednesday rant. But with this Two of Cups, it feels to me like for you, Ice Queen, it's almost like a little, to me it feels like a big question mark, like, hey, Tarot Illumination, okay? It's almost like, pretend I'm right there with you, okay? Or pretend you're right here with me, either way, and you're totally like open, totally in the zone, and we're just like, just tell me, Tarot Illumination, is this stuff real? Is this healing power of love? Is it true that there are invisible friends? Is it true that there are others out there who love me? Is it true that you can be loving and be loved? Is it true that if I deliberately choose loving behaviors, loving decisions, loving actions, which you can learn through the process of love thyself, number one, love thyself, then make the decision. What's the most loving thing you can do for yourself right now, okay, Ice Queen? Because that is ultimately what that translates into is, how do I invite love into my life? How do I invite the healing power of love into my life so that I feel like I am loving and I am loved? And when you have that, when you own that, then you can sometimes experience that in physical life where there's another person, a child, a pet, a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, something where it becomes very evident. It's absolute, unequivocal, factual evidence that when you are loving, you are loved. It's like a formula. It's like a physics equation or something. Be loving and be loving. Be loving and be loved. And the best way to get validation for that, one of the most satisfying ways, is when you deliberately, you make it your business, first of all, to be loving. Okay? Be loving. And then, let's hope it works, be loved, okay? Your son died. Is it true? Whoa. Well, if your son died and that's a fact, then it's true. Well, if you're talking about like what happens, I mean, from my perspective, the soul goes on. So if he physically died, if you have a son and he physically died in this lifetime, he's still there, you know, in a different form. But what I was trying to get at with this Two of Cups is this, to me it felt like a question, like sometimes there is doubt. I mean, I say things that sound so like simplistic. Be loving, be loved. You are loving, you are loved, okay? And that's easy for me to say, but how does it actually work if your life is full of misery, trauma, pain, confusion, loss, death, tragedy, and so on, abuse, and whatever it is? And sometimes it's very hard to sense or feel or know love in your life, to love and be loved. And so for me, it's kind of like a formula. You ask for the healing power of love to fill your body, mind, heart, and soul from up above so that you own it, like having stock, like you actually own it. You own it as a form of energy. And then when you own it, then it's your responsibility. What are you going to do with that? Be loving and then be loved. And so you are planting seeds of love. But to me, with this reading, when I saw the little Two of Cups there, what I was sensing is this energy for you in this reading. It's like this doubt. The doubt that love exists at all. Especially if you've been loving and then you're questioning like, well, I was loving, like, where's the love? You know, where's the love for me? Like, so Tarot Illumination, you say, be loving and be loved. So I've been loving, so where's the love for me? Maybe you've lost a son. Maybe you loved your son dearly, and that it seems like it's not fair. It's like it's tragedy. So, you know, explain that, Tarot Illumination, huh? How do you fix that? So the little Two of Cups is also very much about healing. Okay, if you look at the imagery, I'll show you. Okay. On this one, they have the twin spiral, okay? But in the, I can't remember the name, it's a sort of fancy Latin word or something. It's very much, it's a single spiral, and it's the energy of healing, okay? I guess what I'm saying here is that the Two of Cups is an indication that love exists, love is real. In some ways, it's a very simple, pure thing. When you are loving, you are loved. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be wonderful all the time, because there's an awful lot of what we call tragedy that exists in our lives. And that can be extremely painful. And it can lead us to question the whole idea of love, the whole concept of love, the whole phenomenon of love. I see love as a phenomenon, as an energy field that's there. It's fully available 24/7, 365, by choice, by decisions. But when something really tragic happens or painful happens, you start to question. I see it as a fact. I mean, I can't prove it, but I see it as I personally, in my opinion, it's a fact that when you are loving, you are loved. And that we are surrounded, we are swimming in the energy of love all the time. The question is, are we aware? Are we tapping into it? And how does that translate into our physical lives on this planet? And that's sometimes a very different story to what, advertisers and politicians and businesses would want us to think constitutes a good life. For some people, a really good life is made up of loving and being loved. And it's not so much about how much money do you have the coolest car or whatever. Were you loving? Were you loved? Is that real? I'm seeing big question marks around this for some reason. What's the situation itself? Okay, so to me, with the Nine of Wands here, it looks to me like it wouldn't surprise me if you're struggling to keep up your spirits, to keep up your courage, to convince yourself that life has meaning and sense and purpose and value above and beyond all the pain and the suffering. Sometimes when you've experienced a loss, let's say your son died and you really loved your son, and it's tragic and you miss your son, and it's leading you to question life in general. Question, what was the point? Why did I bother to give birth to this child? Nine of Wands here, it looks to me like the situation is about coming face to face with something perhaps very painful, and figuring out, what does it all mean? Why? Why even bother? Why even bother to incarnate in this lifetime if all you're going to do is meet pain and suffering? I mean, there are a lot of people who get born onto this planet, into this lifetime, where from the minute they're born to the minute they die, it's just misery, poverty, shame, disease, dirt, loss, death. That happens a lot. Us here on this channel, this show tonight, even though we're dealing with, let's say, the subject of people who've already passed over, loved ones in our life. I mean, even Gregory with his mom, and it was obviously not the best relationship. We're all here for a reason. Okay, it's happened, we're here, and we can do what we want with it. We have this thing called choice. And so, to me, it feels like this reading is about, like, what does it all mean? Like, why did I bother to have my son? What's the point, of bringing life into the world if it's just going to be taken away or lost, And then you end up with this problem, which is almost overwhelming, and it takes you to the brink of your ability to manage and, manage your own life, because the ability to handle something like, I know what it's like to lose people, people who've died and everything. I've got enough mileage to have lost quite a few people in my life. Some of it in very natural ways, some of it very tragic. But either way, 1 minute they're here, the next minute they're not. Okay, so I think with the Nine of Wands there, it's like you're at this kind of like almost like a breaking point, where if you're honest with yourself, it's almost like there could be this energy of extreme bitterness. It's like, you know how people get when they become so bitter, they become blank. It's just like, I don't give a shit anymore. You know what? Life doesn't mean anything anymore. What's the point in having hope? What's the point in caring? What's the point in loving? What's the point in thinking that you're going to be loved? When everything turns to SHIT in the end anyway. When we all die, we're all going to go, anyway. So there's a bit of a tragic energy there. There's a certain generation group that is kind of marked by tragedy. It's marked by like this sort of dark, we're all going to die energy anyway. I don't know if you're from that like generational group, but it does happen, and it's kind of sad. It goes with that vibe, that particular generational group in the last few decades. But anyway, let me keep going. What's the problem here? To me, it looks like, let's say love did exist, but there's big question marks about it. Where does this leave me now? I know okay, here's an example. Let's say, Ice Queen, you were very close to your son, and you loved your son loved you, and even when, no matter if there were quarrels or problems, the love was there, and then all of a sudden it's not. And this can be an extreme burden to carry. I have a dear friend, she lost her husband. He was like 38 years old or something. He was my best buddy. And he had a very, very ugly, tragic death. And so she is permanently locked up in this energy. She can function now, but it's like she's crippled. It's very sad. She keeps going, but the way she keeps going is she immerses herself in her career now. Anyway, what's the problem here? What is the actual challenge? Because this is difficult. Okay, with the Ten of Swords, to me it looks like the problem is how do we handle irrevocable, irreversible pain? How do you heal something that can't be healed? How do you fix something that can't be fixed? How do you live with irrevocable, unhealable pain and suffering and loss? Let's have a look, see over here. Okay. So I've got the Six of Pentacles. Okay, let's look at the Pentacles of tokens of love. Okay? Like in a physical lifetime, a physiological lifetime. Like if you read that book, for example, we talked about it earlier, The Road Less Traveled. M. Scott Peck, he specifically talks about as like a commodity, like money, like tokens, like assets, physical assets. Let's say you're very physically fit and you're healthy and have a long life. You have the capacity to be very loving and very loved by tapping into your assets. How much time are you dedicating to your loved ones? How much time are you dedicating to yourself? How much resources are being dedicated to you? And with the Six, there's about equilibrium and balance. So to me, it feels like what the message here is to do with is to learn and understand some very, very painful, like physiological, three-dimensional lessons in here and in here and in the spirit world that can only be learned in the physical life on this earth, the material life, those pentacles. In other words, in your situation, the loss of your son. Assuming I'm just kind of going with the storyline, okay? So you get to a point, like it's a calendar moment in your life, okay? You get to a point like, oh, my son is not here anymore. He's gone, right? So what do you do now? And there's life that led up to it, and there's life at that moment, and then there's life afterwards. And when I see the Three of Pentacles here, I think it's very much about a very, very gentle message that from the spiritual perspective, it's going to sound awful, but it's a very, very painful way for you, Ice Queen, to learn and understand that life is cyclical, okay? It comes and it goes. You give birth, and then the universe takes life away. We bring life into being, and then life is taken away. We are born, we live, and then we die. Every single human being, every piece of organic life on this planet, whether it's a centipede, a frog, an owl, a parakeet, a blade of grass, a pine cone, a pine tree or something, or a sheep or a cow in a factory farm. These are all living, sentient beings. I see trees as sentient beings. Cows, pigs, horses, all of them, they feel pain. They feel joy and everything in between. And they are born and they live and then they die. And they participate. And so when I see the Three of Pentacles there for you, I think the way to move on and go forward is, it's going to sound like a cop-out. It's like I'm copping out of the reading, but it's a very physical, raw, physical lesson in the cyclical nature of life, in the very transient, fleeting nature of life. 1 minute we are giving, 1 minute we are receiving. And when you look at it from way, way out here in outer space, you come back down to Earth, it's perfectly natural. It's very beautiful. It's just the ebb and flow of life. 1 minute, your mother, for example, you, Ice Queen, your mother gave huge amounts of life, of her life, for you to be born. It's a very taxing thing on a woman to give birth and bring another human being into this earth. But women have this miraculous capability to do that. And it helps if they have a really good partner who's very supportive in that energy too. But ultimately, a lot of times women are on their own. And it can be very painful. I think women feel a lot of things that men can't or don't feel. Even though men can be very compassionate and caring and loving, it's just different. Men are different from women. Women are different from men. So in your situation, I think if you could say that this reading is a message, if you could say that the message is coming from your son who's from the beyond, and he loves you, and you loved him, and it might have been very pure and simple in a short journey. And yeah, it's painful, and yeah, it's really difficult to deal with something like this, but the way to handle it is to see it as part of the beautiful journey of life, the ebb and the flow of life, giving and receiving, being loving and being loved. 1 minute you're just giving everything of your body, mind, heart, and soul to give birth to this child. And the next minute, it's all gone. Well, not in the next minute. It sounds like your son had a life. I don't know how long it was, but 1 minute it's there, the next minute it's not. And that's it. So what happens is What do you do in that period of thing that we call time? Are you loving? Are you loved? Have you been loving? Have you been loved? I think with this reading, it's an affirmation that you have been loving and you have been loved. And love does exist, even though there might be a huge question mark for you right now about that. It does exist. It is there. Yeah, things are tragic. Things are painful. How do you deal with unrequited pain, unsolvable pain? The only thing you can do is look at it very philosophically in a very worldly, material way. Like, well, it's going to be the same for me one day. I'm going to be gone one day. You're going to be gone one day. And it's just as tragic as it is beautiful. At least while you're here, we're doing what we can. You're doing what you can. I'm doing what I can. Be loving, be loved. Yeah, think of those 6 pentacles as tokens of love. And the message is to keep going, to just be loving and be loved. Understand? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give myself and you guys a break. I'm going to play a song I haven't played in quite a long time, but it is a song that I wrote for my mother when she passed. And my mother loved to be happy. Okay? My mother could be, I don't want to go into the shadow side of all that stuff, but she did her best. And I loved my brother very much, and my mother loved me very much. We both did our best. We all did our best. And I wrote this little song. It's for her. It's called Because I Care. And I wrote it in such a way that it's like 2 songs. The first part of the song, it sounds like a sort of, like a slower ballad kind of thing. But then I flipped the song upside down and turned it into a happy. It's the same song, but it's produced in a different way. You'll hear, I'll let the song hopefully explain itself to you. And it'll give me a chance, okay? Diana, what? Wow. This is a kind of a quirky show tonight when you think about it. Diana Lynn, I forgot that you were here. And you're just saying that your brother passed, what was it, October 17th? That's only a few months ago. Wow. So we're dealing with the subject of death and the great beyond, what happens after we go. We disappear. No, we're not. We're right here. I get encounters with my mom and dad every now and again, sometimes quite frequently. Sometimes it's like they're right here. Oh, goodness. I don't really do much in terms of mediumship, but I've done those kind of readings for people where, who are those guys? Who are the big famous ones? Like Sylvia Brown, she used to be really famous. Then there was this guy, John Edwards. He's a famous American psychic medium. There's James von Prague. And there's a few women, I can't remember their names now, but they're pretty famous for that, okay? Your son was on the 4/10/2020. Not every tarot reading has to be about love and relationships, We can talk about death and the great beyond, our loved ones from the other side. I have my invisible friends. I'm heavily protected, heavily guided. I'm very lucky in that way. I have fantastic guardian angels. I've been nearly dead so many times. It's just a miracle I'm even here at all. We just keep going. Eventually my time will come, your time will come, and that's okay. We recycle. I'm very aware of probably at least 5 very vivid past lives that I can recall very clearly. And if you bother with it, you can probably find some of your own too. So interesting tonight. I mean, I don't plan these things. I don't plan the subjects for the shows, but it looks like every reading here tonight is to do with loved ones from the great beyond. Okay? That's all right. I don't mind. Change it up. Make things a little different. It's kind of beautiful in a way. I think it's absolutely beautiful that we can connect by spirit, through the ether. Let me play this song now. So like I said I was going to do. Let me play this thing and I will get you guys set up. We'll take a little break and then we're going to do another reading from Melissa. Okay? The song is called Because I Care. Let's have a look. Here, it sounds like this. I did it to try and cheer up my mother on the other side, okay?
Let's dissolve our pain and get out of danger. Heal all the wounds and cure all the anger. I'll be the doctor, you be the patient. Here is your medicine, I'll help you take it. No, it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. It wipes out the fear and makes you live longer. It's not a lotion, it's no magic potion. It's just a dose of love in the moment. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care. Holding your hand, I know you can feel me. I'll talk in a whisper, I know you can hear me. When you awaken, when we are conscious, totally healed and cured, just watch this. No more weeping, no more sadness. Gone is the fighting, gone is the madness. We can choose to become alive or just disappear or become survivors. I'll watch you while you're lying there, while your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care, because I care.
We're not going to let you go down in flames. No, no, no. We're going to have fun. We're going to do this right.
survivors. I'll watch you while you're lying there. Na 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 na. While your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Na 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 na. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care. Because I care. Na 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 just a dose of love in the moment. I'll watch you while you're lying there. Na 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 na. While your eyes are closed and your heart is bare. Na 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 na. Perfectly still, but still aware. And I'm right here because I care. Because I care. Na 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 na
So there you go. That's a song I wrote for my mom. She never heard it, but I did it anyway. Love anyway, you know. So that's the theory. It's quirky feeling. Hold on, give me a second. I just want to reconnect with everybody over here. Yeah, okay. So while you guys were just doing what you guys do, I was just topping up my glass of wine so we can keep going. Cheers, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your generosity, donations, and all of that. I love doing this stuff. Kind of doesn't make sense. You know, have you ever been to one of those events, one of those shows or places, you know, where they have spontaneous healings and spontaneous readings? Well, like some of the names that I mentioned, there's another lady I know. She's more of a promoter and a marketer of these kinds of things. She tries to help people to learn how they can become more fluent and more engaged, more loving and more loved. She doesn't really profess to be a psychic or a medium or anything like that, but she seems to be very fluent in terms of helping other people become that way. And she does it sort of on a volunteer basis. She can get away with that because I think she has a husband who is very successful and very well paid in life, and he encourages her and helps her to do this. But her name is Laura Day. So anyway, hey Path. Hi Diana, I hope that helped. Yeah, cheers everybody. Cheers. This is a glass of wine, but you know, I do see beer. I do like having a beer now and again. I sometimes question myself, why do I do this at all, you know? And then I remembered, all I have to do is look at my chart and I can see this, these like glaring reasons. I can see it in my own chart. Like, for example, we're coming into this Aquarian themed energy right now. And one of the things about Aquarian energy is it's almost the energy of like volunteerism, the energy of humanity, humanitarianism, the idea of what works for the group, the community, the population, as opposed to what works for a predator or a leader or a corporation or an owner or a manager. It's what works best for the community overall, where you realize that there are hierarchies, okay? Or there might be someone who's actually very good at leadership, but they're not very good at execution. So, you know, you align yourself, you surround yourself. Like I remember as a kid, one of the things that I loved to do was go to campfires and like hold hands with everybody around the fire. And there was this place where we used to go tobogganing and things in the snow in winter when I was a kid. And when it got really cold, you would go to this huge bonfire made out of things like railway timbers and telephone poles and tree trunks and huge logs. Massive fire. And this huge fire was built inside of a huge circle. And the circle was made out of telephone poles that were chopped in half and buried in the ground so that they stood about 8 or 9 feet, about 8 feet tall. And so you had this huge wall of telephone poles and an opening on the side, and everybody would go into the big telephone pole circle, and the heat of the fire would of course be reflected back and kept in there. So it was a very, very cozy, delicious experience to be there with a whole bunch of strangers, friends and family, covered in like scarves and gloves and hats and mittens and puffy coats and like 3 pairs of socks and big thick rubber boots and 2 pairs of pants and all that kind of stuff. And everybody, it was Arctic air. But when you got close to that fire and everybody would hold hands, it was this amazing feeling of like we are indestructible. I just thought I'd share that with you. Oh, so look at, here's a note from Path. Leo Sun, Aquarius in the 7th house, Libra rising, Aquarius. Yeah, let the games begin. I don't know what's going to happen. Melissa Lawrence, you have an Aquarius rising and moon. Neptune in Aquarius and Uranus. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's going to be interesting. Oh, another thing about the Aquarian energy is the theme of volunteerism, the theme of like just participating in humanity, not specifically for seeking reward or posterity or dominance or control or ownership. It's about the joy of surviving as a community. Each community needs a collection of all sorts. Older people, younger people, healthy people, smart people. And for those who are fragile or weak or young, like little babies and children or pets or anything that can't take care of themselves, the community pitches in, And the whole idea of possession and ownership and control becomes like a secondary thing. It's about what's good for the community. So we talk about these kind of things on my Wednesday show, which has a very Aquarian theme, by the way. It's all about like we the people. I'm not going to start talking about that stuff right now. Okay, forget it. Okay, let's go on and do the reading for Melissa. Here we go. Hello, Melissa. Let's have a look. Melissa, I'm just going to do another little note here before we get into your reading. So I want to give you a few moments here. Melissa, if you've got anything particular in mind. Otherwise, like if you have a loved one who's passed over, we want to talk about that, that's fine. Or you can change it up, change subjects if you want. But like, for example, you could say, hey, Terlumination, what messages do you have for me tonight, Melissa Lawrence, regarding the subject of ... If it happens to be a loved one who's passed over, fine. If it's something else like health or your evolution or spirituality or career or money or relationships, whatever it is, maybe put a word in there. Just put a word. What are the messages do you have for me tonight, Terlumination, regarding the subject of ... Just fill in the blanks. Just the blank. Maybe just one word. That's all we need. Otherwise, we'll just keep going anyway. And I'll give you a blind reading. I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of distracted here for a moment. Hold on, let's have a look. Melissa Lawrence says here, general would be lovely, but if my grandmother comes through, that would be fine as well. I never got to say my goodbyes. Wow. Walked into the house and she flatlined on a FaceTime call. Seriously? Whoa. Wow. Phew. Talk about checking out. My nostrils are whistling. Sorry. Give me a second here. I want to just... Sorry, Melissa, before we get into your reading, I had my first experience with a neti pot today. I was coached through the whole process. Love Triber was right there on hand. And it's very weird. You basically pour water up your nose and it comes out the other side. And it's been great for a while, but I'm starting to get a little congested again. And what I'm realizing is that when I think back on it, I always had a few problems up here ever since I was a kid. I don't have a lot of natural diseases. I've had things that I would... Okay, I don't want to go into a life ramble or anything, but I remember as a little kid, I was always, I mean, it's going to sound really weird, but I was one of those kids, I was kind of like this. I was one of those kids. And I always used to have to carry a handkerchief with me because every now and again I would have to kind of go. And so I became kind of, I don't know, I was always puzzled by all this stuff in here. I don't have a lot of allergies or anything, but I am scared of dust. And anyway, this neti pot, what it did, it just cleared everything here. But I think my natural biology is kicking in again, and I'm starting to feel the congestion come back. And you wouldn't know what it is unless you've already been fully cleared. Now, I had an experience a few hours ago of what it's like to be really kind of clear and clean in here. And it wasn't like an ecstatic moment, but it was a kind of just a gentle, comforting experience. Like, wow, the air is flowing in smoothly and flowing out smoothly. And I don't get that all the time. Normally I breathe okay. I'm not a complete mouth breather. I'm not like this the whole time. Like, I'm not like that. But anyway, I can feel it coming back. I can feel myself going, trying to keep everything moving freely. Sorry, I had to mention that because it came to my full attention while I was just getting ready to start doing Melissa's reading. Okay, we're going to do an open reading, but if your mom comes in, hold on, let me just read that again. It says, Path Traveler says, Melissa, that is rough. I'm sorry. And then Melissa says, yes, my mother was on a call with her. And the second I came into the house, she was gone. Oh my God. I don't know how you can process something like that. It just is what it is. Yeah, Melissa. When I was a little kid, the doctors told my parents, hey, dear parents of TL, you need to know that your son is highly susceptible to dust and congestion and breathing problems. So just be aware. I don't have asthma. I don't have the software is frozen. Okay, are we still live, people? Something freakish just happened. Oh, God. Are we still here? Hold on, give me a second. What the hell is going on? What the hell? Okay. Is this thing still streaming?